So let's talk a little bit about the guy, Henry Ford, and how he failed his way to success. So he successfully built and tested his first gasoline engine in his kitchen sink on Christmas Eve. I always loved to never despise the days of humble beginnings. And while he was building up his first company, it was called the Detroit Automobile Company, and had a bunch of investors. And that business went out of business, and he lost his investors their money. Now, he bounced back. So he loses his first business. He bounces back. And he actually does a road race against a person at the time who was considered like the best road racer in the world, is Alexander Winton. And Henry had built a car by hand, and he built this sweepstakes car, they called it. And at Grosse Pointe on October 10th of 1901, he beats Alexander Winton. And it gets a front page of the newspapers, and next thing you know, he's not just a local hero, but he starts getting interested investors who are saying, hey, you're doing this stuff with automobiles, we want to know more about it. In 1902, Henry leaves the Ford company due to disputes with stockholders and designs of cars he built. So they're up and running. He's got some shareholders. In 1902, the company he just started, he leaves. He quits. Now he goes back to the race car side of things, and he had his Henry Ford 999 race car, which was driven now by a professional race car driver called Barney Oldfield. And again, he beats this Alexander Winton character, and back at the same racetrack they did it before. So now he's cemented himself even more. So now all of a sudden the investors are there. They let him do it his way. He gets a chance to build a Model T. The Model T takes over. His goal originally was most Americans had never been more than 7 miles away from their home. And Henry Ford said, I want people to see America. And so the Model T, when he first built it, they were producing one a day. And at the peak, they were producing one every 90 seconds. And he built one of the most prolific companies in the world, and is often accredited not as building the first car, the best car, or anything else, but he built, the factory assembly line. That's what's most attributed to Henry Ford. But he continued on in his life, and he tried to do other things. In fact, he's very, very popular in the state of Michigan. And in 1918, he decided to become a senator. And he lost. Okay. And so that's what you think, just because you're successful, just because you have money, just because you have resources, it doesn't mean everything is going to fall in your lap. And sometimes you need to lose at something to go back into your lane. And in 1921, 3 years after he lost out on the Senate, he went back to, continuing his focus with Ford Motor Company. And by 1921, the Ford Motor Company was producing 55% of all the cars driven in America. I mean, imagine that. Imagine that level of domination and success. In the 1930s, he built a museum to preserve the historical items he'd built as part of his legacy. And that museum still stands today. It's well worth a look if you ever get a chance to get up there. So here was a guy that's considered this huge success. And he was. But he had so many different chapters of failure. And he didn't quit. He didn't quit because of his failures. He knew in order to succeed, he had to forget about the past and focus on his future, like we all do. And he just had some great quotes. He said, we don't have a chance to fail. How can we have a chance to be successful? And we can succeed. You just can't let your past decisions haunt you. Just focus on the future. And so these are great, great quotes. And obviously, the most famous of the Henry Ford quotes is, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Now, you and I may not have the future or the destiny set up for ourselves of Henry Ford, or that 55% of every product or service we come up with is going to be used in a market like America. But it's just encouraging, I think, when you realize all these people, he failed in business, he left his own company, he tried to be a senator and failed. He went back and forward many, many times. But at the end of the day, he kept showing up. He didn't give in, and kept showing up, and he succeeded. And so now he's a household name.